You know what? I'm still mad at this show. I am. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm trying to just be like, okay, it's like I said before. Oh, it's like Hercules or Xena, and you don't have to be too precious about mythology and stuff like that. But there, in order to be Arthurian, you ought to at least have some sort of connection to, at what point do you stray so far away from something being Arthurian? And following in, kind of the basic patterns of the Arthur story, that it just isn't anymore, and you just use those names because it was a convenient marketing ploy, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know that this show has reached that point, but I'm still very annoyed about certain things, okay? And it's like, why not just make it a generic fantasy or something? Why not just write a new fantasy? What does Tolkien do? He writes his own. What does George R. R. Martin do? He writes his own. Okay. And so you can see resonances with Arthurian stories or medieval history or whatever in their works, but they are their own. And so you can't get too annoyed, right? Because there's nothing to get annoyed at. When you're doing an Arthurian story, you don't have to hew so closely. I mean, the medieval, romances, they can go all over the place. Arthur has a son, Arthur doesn't have a son. The sons always die, though, right? Arthur is always the father of Mordred, okay? Morgana is always his sister, okay? Those are things that always, are part of the Arthurian story. He's killed by his own son, who is a bastard, because Arthur is a bastard, right? He is a bastard son of the king, right? Who, comes to the kingship, through magical means.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Now, some of that stuff originates only with Geoffrey, and so any earlier mention of Arthur, like in Nennius, doesn't bring up a lot of that stuff. And that's fine. But I guess what I'm getting at here is there are things that this show does that I still find really annoying. Like, why is Uther still alive? Why is Arthur Prince Arthur at Camelot? Like, that's not the Arthur story.
This is the real story, man.
No, I mean, it's not that there's a real story. And I'm not saying that there aren't variations, but like, I just find it so annoying.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, "Oh, there's Spock and Kirk."
Okay, see, that's the one thing where I'm watching a show and I go, okay, if I throw out my aggravation with the Arthur stuff, right, with which is
that's a lot to throw out.
It is, but if you extract that from the problem and you just watch the show as a show, yeah, we were watching it last night, and I did find this one way in. There was some scene, and I'm trying to think of what it was now. It's just Arthur and Merlin are on their own in the woods looking for a Dragonlord. And I realized, their dynamic is Kirk and Spock.
Yeah.
Now, part of that is because Merlin has, black hair, and he's like the nerd.
Yeah.
And Arthur has blonde hair, and he's the hero.
And it's definitely the Spock of the 21st century where it's all about trying, like, yeah, he's all logical, but let's find his emotional core.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And
they're no longer satisfied with him just being logical.
Yeah.
And
and the thing is, it's not like the original show never went there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we going to go into a tangent about Star Trek? Sure. Here's the thing. The original Star Trek, yeah, I mean, it's not like they never, like Pong Far, right?
Yeah.
That came up, of course. And obviously...
It's like that Amish thing, whatever.
You could wait. Pong Far is like Rumspringa?
Yeah.
Well,
a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in a way. Yeah, okay.
Get to let loose for like a few months.
Not wrong, I guess. Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but sure. Yeah, I can see that. But obviously, Wrath of Khan, it's famous because the most logical, thing for Spock to do is to sacrifice himself, but it also has this huge, weighty, emotional component, right? So it's not like that stuff was never there. But it is weird how in the 21st century, we can't just let Spock be Spock. Spock has to have some sort of emotional side that we have to explore. And again, it's not like that isn't there in the original show, but it becomes the whole focus of his character now.
And the thing is, like, what was cool about Spock, it wasn't that he didn't have emotions. It was just that he was always controlling them.
Right.
Like, that was fun.
Yeah, because it made for an interesting contrast, not just to Kirk, but to Bones, right? Or to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in the 21st century, though, Spock, and look, I like Strange New Worlds. I think it's fantastic. And I do think they do a good job with Spock, and the actor who plays Spock is great, right?
Yeah.
But it's weird how that and the Abrams reboot, they have to like get into, well, what's Spock's real emotional, world like? We have to really explore that much more than anything else. And I'm like, do we? I don't think we do.
But also, is Spock like the Merlin of Star Trek?
No. Yes. Well, define Merlin.
Because obviously Doctor Who is Merlin.
Yes.
And
literally is said to be Merlin at one point.
Yeah.
During the Seventh Doctor, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it just seems like what the changes that have happened to Doctor Who have happened to Spock, have happened to Sherlock a little bit.
Oh, God, you're right. Everybody's got to be a soft boy now.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No.
I mean, look, I'm not saying that, in real life we all need to be stoical, although I do wish we had a little bit more stoicism. And I don't mean the kind of stupid alt-right idea of what stoicism is. I mean more of the, just kind of being an adult about things and kind of saying, okay, putting my emotions aside and like just dealing with life as it is handed to me and, looking for the logical outcome of things and not being overly emotional when it's not necessary.
But
right?
it does feel like a getting back at dad thing.
Oh yeah.
Like with Anakin Skywalker, with all these characters.
But you're right. Like all these characters who were famous for like just being logical or not being human or not being like in the 21st century, the people who took up the mantle have decided, but we need to get into like their inner trauma.
Yeah, we gotta get them to hook up with somebody.
They gotta get laid. We have to explore their inner trauma. And I'm like, but we don't. We don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Or like, why is it always the same story, right?